Marcus swore under his breath as the conduit panel sparked against his hand. Every ship designer who thought hiding power relays behind sharp edges should be forced to fix them in zero gravity, he muttered, wedging himself deeper into the crawlspace. Somewhere above, the hum of the Curiosity 9's engines carried its steady rhythm, like a giant metal heart that only half cared whether he lived or died inside its guts. A polite cough drifted in from the hatchway. "Excuse me," came a voice, melodic, deliberate, and entirely too calm for someone about to crawl into a maintenance shaft that smelled faintly of fried insulation. Marcus craned his head, promptly banged it on the relay, and winced. "Whoever you are, unless you've got a miracle wrench or a fire extinguisher, you're about to regret this visit." A shadow stretched across the narrow opening. Then came the face, no, not quite human, though close enough to make him blink. Her skin had the same soft tones as any crew member, her eyes an odd pale silver that caught the glow of the emergency lamp, but the ears were impossible to miss. Long, elegant, sweeping back like twin blades of polished stone. "I am Elira," she said simply, folding her hands behind her back as though announcing her name should explain why she had wandered into his maintenance kingdom. Marcus nearly dropped his spanner. "Right. You're the Evolian researcher. The one Captain said we were hosting." "Yes. I am here to observe humans," she replied, ducking slightly as though the ship's ceiling were conspiring against her ears. "Specifically, how you behave under normal circumstances." "This appears normal." Marcus snorted. "If you think swearing at fried circuits is normal, then yeah, welcome aboard." Her gaze sharpened on his hands as he struggled with the relay. "You use tools crudely. Why not let the nanofabricators repair the circuit?" "Because nanofabricators cost about 30,000 credits per spool, and the captain would rather space me than burn one on a loose wire," Marcus shot back. "Besides, fixing it by hand builds character." Elira tilted her head, ears twitching faintly. "Character is a measurable attribute." "Sure," Marcus said, deadpan. Every scar adds +1 to sarcasm. For the first time, she smiled. It was subtle, but it broke through her serious expression like sunlight cutting into a gray sky. "I see. You build resilience through jokes. A curious survival strategy." Marcus wriggled free of the crawlspace and brushed himself off. "Survival strategy is coffee. Jokes are just side effects." He noticed she was still staring at him with an intensity that made his skin itch. "Look, if you're planning to watch me work all day, at least make yourself useful. Hand me that panel cover." She picked it up, turned it over in her hands as though it were an alien artifact rather than a metal sheet, and then passed it along. Humans create fascinatingly crude objects. This is not symmetrical. It's a rectangle. It is approximately a rectangle. Marcus smirked. "Guess perfection isn't part of your job description." Elira opened her mouth, then shut it again, ears flicking in a way Marcus was starting to interpret as embarrassment. She crouched next to him. "Your humor, it seems to reduce the strain of inefficient tasks. Among Evolians, inefficiency is corrected, not laughed at." "That explains a lot," Marcus said, sliding the panel into place. "Laughing at inefficiency keeps us from screaming at it. You'll see plenty of that before this trip is over." She studied him for a long moment, then leaned closer as though about to share a secret. "Do you also laugh at danger?" "Only when the danger can't hear us." Her silver eyes widened slightly. "I must record that." She pulled a slender device from her belt and tapped it. "Observation log. Human coping mechanism involves mockery of lethal scenarios. Possible evolutionary adaptation." "Or we're just idiots," Marcus offered. She glanced at him, expression caught somewhere between alarm and amusement. "That is, an unexpectedly honest hypothesis." A klaxon wailed overhead, signaling a minor coolant imbalance. Marcus cursed and grabbed his toolkit again. "Welcome to normal human life, Elira." Loud alarms, fried wires, and a lot of bad jokes. She followed him as he jogged down the corridor. I look forward to cataloging all of it. Especially the jokes. Marcus shook his head. Lady, by the time this mission's over, you'll have enough material to write a comedy special. I do not know this special, she replied, earnest. But I am beginning to suspect that humans themselves are one. Marcus balanced on the grated floor of the engineering bay, half focused on the blinking diagnostic panel and half on the silver-eyed observer leaning much too close to his shoulder. Alira's presence had become a constant orbit around him, like a moon with an unhealthy interest in its planet. She wasn't disruptive, exactly. More like, distracting. Especially when she tilted her head, ears twitching faintly, and asked questions that had no right to sound so formal and so ridiculous at the same time. Explain to me, she began, tapping her data slate with delicate precision, how humans propagate their species. Marcus nearly dropped his spanner into the reactor duct. What? She blinked at him, unbothered. Your method of reproduction. I have collected data on your nutritional intake, waste expulsion, and locomotion efficiency. The next logical category is replication. He clamped the spanner under his arm, straightened, and gave her the kind of look reserved for malfunctioning androids. You're serious. Entirely. Marcus rubbed his face. Of all the things you could have asked about, you went straight to the birds and the bees. Her ears twitched again. I see no avian or insectoid references in your files. It's an expression. Ah. She adjusted her stance, waiting patiently. Then express. He coughed, buying time, staring at the humming reactor as though it might provide a convenient escape. Well, humans reproduce the usual way. Alira leaned closer. And the usual way is. He groaned. You're not going to drop this, are you? My research requires accuracy. Marcus muttered something unflattering under his breath and hunted for the least traumatizing explanation. All right. So, humans have two main biological, templates. Male and female. When the two work together, their genetic material combines and makes a new human. Alira blinked slowly, like a computer parsing a corrupt file. Combine how? He hesitated. Through physical union. Her silver eyes narrowed. You mean to say, you literally attach yourselves? Marcus coughed into his fist. That's one way to put it. She frowned, ears stiffening. This seems inefficient. Dangerous, even. Direct biological contact carries contamination risk. Viruses, bacteria. Yeah, we figured that out. That's why we invented soap. She stared at him. Soap is your solution to biohazard exposure? Marcus shrugged helplessly. Works pretty well. Alira's hands tightened on her data slate as though it might shield her from the horrors she was uncovering. I require further clarification. Which organ systems are involved in this attachment ritual? Marcus winced. This is starting to sound like a medical interrogation. It is a medical interrogation. Okay, fine, but don't blame me when you regret asking. He took a deep breath. Basically, males deliver genetic material using, specialized anatomy. Females receive it with their own anatomy, and then, if conditions are right, new life begins. Silence. Utter silence. Alira's silver eyes widened, her long ears rising like antennae picking up a forbidden transmission. You cannot be serious. Marcus spread his hands. Do I look like I'm joking? She sputtered, actually sputtered, which was something Marcus hadn't thought her capable of. That is your method of species continuation. Inserting biological tissue into another body. Voluntarily. Marcus bit his lip, trying and failing not to laugh. Yeah. And not just voluntarily, enthusiastically. Her data slate clattered to the floor. Enthusiastically. Very enthusiastically. Alira's face twisted into a mixture of horror and fascination, like someone being told fire was delicious. You enjoy this? Most of us, yeah. A lot. She pressed her palms against her temples, ears twitching frantically. Unbelievable. Reckless. Inefficient. Chaotic. She looked at him sharply. And you perform this procedure without supervision? Marcus nearly doubled over. Supervision? Who the hell would supervise? Her jaw dropped. Your species is more deranged than I calculated. The engineering console beeped, reminding Marcus that, technically, the ship still needed attention. He wiped his eyes. Relax. It's not as crazy as it sounds. It sounds, she said gravely, like biological Russian roulette. Marcus grinned. Well, that's dating for you. Alira stared, then finally bent to retrieve her slate. Her hands shook as she typed furiously, muttering under her breath. Observation log: human reproduction involves absurdly hazardous, direct organ interaction. Further note: subjects appear disturbingly eager about risk. Possible explanation for species impulsive psychology. Marcus leaned against the console, smirking. Don't forget to add that we make jokes about it, too. Her gaze flicked up at him, sharp but uncertain. You mock even your reproductive system? Of course. What else would we do? Cry. Alira opened her mouth, closed it, then shook her head slowly. Your species is unsalvageable. Thanks, Marcus said cheerfully. We try. Alira's shriek carried through 3 bulkheads and made the ship's security officer drop his coffee. Marcus, sprinting into the data lab, found her standing ramrod straight in front of the central hollow projector, silver eyes wide and ears sticking so stiffly upright they looked like they might puncture the ceiling. Suspended in shimmering blue light above the projector was the unmistakable diagram of human anatomy, very detailed, very unclothed, and very, very educational. Shut it off, shut it off, shut it off, she shouted, swiping at the controls with frantic hands. The diagram rotated lazily, highlighting organs she very obviously did not want highlighted. Marcus lunged forward, hit the kill switch, and darkness swallowed the hollow. He turned to her, biting the inside of his cheek to keep from laughing. I told you the medical archive wasn't rated PG. Alira's ears flicked so hard they were practically vibrating. That cannot be real. It is absurd. Vulgar. Inefficient beyond reason. Marcus grinned. Oh, it's real. Trust me, billions of people wouldn't exist if it wasn't. She covered her face with her hands. Your species requires physical collision of organ systems to generate life. I thought you were joking yesterday. I logged it as a comedic exaggeration. Guess you'll have to file a correction. Her fingers parted just enough for one horrified silver eye to glare at him. And you participate willingly? Marcus leaned back against the console, folding his arms. Not just willingly. Eagerly. Some people build their whole lives around the pursuit. Alira made a sound halfway between a gasp and a groan. Your entire civilization runs on madness. Runs on coffee, Marcus corrected. Madness is just the free upgrade. Before she could retort, the projector pinged. She had apparently queued more than one file, because a new hologram blinked to life, animated this time. Alira shrieked louder than before, nearly tripping over her own feet as she backed away. Stop, stop. It moves. Marcus slapped the controls again, though not before catching a glimpse of exactly which health education file she had triggered. His grin stretched ear to ear. Congratulations, you just discovered the human instructional video. Classic stuff. Every kid gets scarred by one in school. She pointed at him with both hands, trembling. Your people show this to children. Teenagers, Marcus said, chuckling. Scares them straight for at least a year. Effective deterrent. Her mouth opened, shut, opened again. That is weaponized trauma. Pretty much. Elira staggered to the nearest chair, collapsed into it, and muttered furiously into her data slate. Observation log: human educational practices border on psychological warfare. Possible explanation for widespread cultural resilience. Marcus perched on the edge of the console, watching her scribble with manic determination. You're gonna need extra data space just to log how weird you think we are. She didn't look up. Your reproductive rituals are now officially more chaotic than your ship maintenance practices. That's saying something. The ship's intercom crackled to life just then, the captain's voice booming. Engineering, report. We've got a coolant flow irregularity starboard side. Marcus sighed and grabbed his toolkit. Duty calls. You coming, Professor? Elira straightened her spine, snapped her slate shut, and marched after him. Yes. I must observe whether your dangerous rituals extend to ship repairs as well. They hurried through the corridor, passing crew members who smirked openly at Marcus. News of Elira's biology lessons had clearly spread. One technician called out, "Hey Marcus, teaching her about the real birds and bees yet?" Elira frowned. Again with the avians and insects. Why are they central to your mating? The technician howled with laughter. Marcus groaned. Ignore him. Inside joke. She narrowed her eyes. All of your jokes appear to involve mating. Welcome to humanity. They reached the coolant manifold, steam venting in pale bursts. Marcus knelt, prying open the access panel. Hand me that coolant stabilizer rod, would you? Elira eyed the device skeptically. This looks unstable. Exactly why I need it. She passed it over gingerly, watching as he wrestled it into the slot. Sparks leapt, alarms wailed, and Marcus swore with the creative fluency only a human engineer possessed. Elira, instead of panicking, tilted her head. Marcus swore under his breath as the conduit panel sparked against his hand. Every ship designer who thought hiding power relays behind sharp edges should be forced to fix them in zero gravity, he muttered, wedging himself deeper into the crawlspace. Somewhere above, the hum of the Curiosity 9's engines carried its steady rhythm, like a giant metal heart that only half cared whether he lived or died inside its guts. A polite cough drifted in from the hatchway. "Excuse me," came a voice, melodic, deliberate, and entirely too calm for someone about to crawl into a maintenance shaft that smelled faintly of fried insulation. Elira sat cross-legged on the mess hall table, data slate in her lap, while half the crew gathered around as though she were about to perform a magic trick. Marcus slumped in a chair nearby, already regretting agreeing to this little cultural exchange. "You have demanded clarity on Evolian reproduction," Elira announced with ceremonial gravity, her ears poised like antennae picking up a distant broadcast. "Very well. Prepare yourselves." Marcus muttered into his mug. "Oh, here we go. Strap in, folks." Elira touched her slate, and a gentle hologram blossomed in the air above the table. Instead of the crude diagrams Marcus had shown her, this one pulsed with elegant crystalline strands of light weaving into shimmering spirals. The crew leaned forward, captivated. "Our process," she began, "involves resonance. Each Evolian carries within them a core crystal, a lattice that holds our genetic symphony. When two choose to bond, their crystals harmonize. Not through physical collision." Her ears twitched accusingly toward Marcus, but through shared energy fields. The strands weave, new patterns emerge, and a child crystal forms. It is placed within the communal chamber, where the entire colony nurtures it until a young one awakens. The hologram flared brighter, the strands merging into a glowing star. The crew gasped softly. Even Marcus had to admit it was, well, impressive. "That's beautiful," one of the medics whispered. Elira inclined her head. "Beauty is essential. Without harmony, the crystal fractures. Marcus raised an eyebrow. So what you're saying is your version of reproduction is a group science project. Her ears shot upright. It is not a project. It is sacred resonance. He grinned. Sounds like a project to me. Communal chamber, group participation, peer review, check, check, and check. Do you get graded afterward? Laughter rippled through the crew. Alira's silver eyes narrowed. At least our method does not involve reckless insertion of organs. Marcus held up his hands. Hey, I never said our way was elegant. Just effective. Another crew member chimed in, chuckling. So, Alira, if everyone helps raise the little crystal kid, how do you know who the parents are? She frowned, as if the question were nonsensical. All our parents. Why would it matter which two initiated resonance? Marcus whistled low. Imagine the child support paperwork. Alira ignored him, continuing with scholarly calm. Our method ensures that no child is without guidance. No single pair holds the burden. Harmony is communal. Marcus leaned back. I'll give you this, it beats babysitters who forget to feed the kid. Her ears twitched again, but her lips curved in the faintest smile. Perhaps humans could learn something from us. Oh, I don't know. Half the fun of human parenting is arguing over whose nose the kid inherited. The room dissolved into laughter again. Even Alira allowed herself a brief chuckle before regaining her composure. Your species makes comedy from every flaw. Marcus lifted his mug in salute. Keeps us alive. Before anyone could answer, the intercom crackled. Attention crew, the captain's voice boomed, brace for minor spatial turbulence. We are passing through the edge of a gravitic ripple. The mess hall lights flickered. Trays rattled. Marcus grabbed his cup before it could slide away, while Alira calmly stabilized herself with a subtle vibration through her crystal core, her body humming faintly like a tuning fork. Marcus stared. How did you just balance through that? She tilted her head. Evolians resonate with surrounding gravity waves. It is instinctive. You humans sway like intoxicated bipeds. Fair, Marcus said, nearly toppling out of his chair. Guess we don't come with built-in stabilizers. Perhaps that explains your inefficient rituals, she said smoothly. If you cannot even withstand a ripple without spilling your liquid fuel, no wonder you simplify reproduction. The crew roared with laughter. Marcus threw his hands up. Oh, great. She's roasting me now. Wonderful. Alira allowed herself the faintest victorious smile. Observation log, she declared, lifting her slate. Humans possess adaptability. But Evolians possess elegance. This difference defines us both. Marcus leaned over, grinning. Don't forget to add, humans compensate with sarcasm. She glanced at him, ears twitching softly. Already noted. Marcus found Alira in the observation deck, sitting with her data slate balanced on her knees, silver eyes fixed on the endless sprawl of stars. Her ears twitched when she heard him step inside, but she didn't look up. You've been quiet all day, he said, dropping into the chair beside her. That usually means you're either plotting the downfall of humanity or updating your logs. She tapped the slate, expression unreadable. Both. He smirked. Fair enough. For a while they sat in silence, listening to the distant thrum of the ship. Finally, Alira spoke. I have catalogued 214 human behaviors. 86 involve humor. 47 involve recklessness. 32 involve food. Marcus chuckled. Sounds about right. Her ears twitched again. I struggled with my conclusion. Your reproduction, your education, your engineering, everything is chaotic, inefficient, and absurd. Yet, she hesitated, tapping the slate. Yet your species endures. thrives. Even finds joy in the chaos. Marcus leaned back. We don't endure despite the chaos. We endure because of it. It makes us, us. She studied him, as if weighing his words against everything she had logged. In Evolian culture, harmony is sacred. Disorder is failure. Yet here you are, embracing disorder as survival. Perhaps, harmony is not the only way. He grinned. Careful. Sounds like you're going native. Her lips quirked in something almost like a smile. Do not exaggerate. I still find your reproductive rituals barbaric. Hey, barbaric works, Marcus said, raising his hands in mock defense. She finally laughed, a clear, crystalline sound that startled even her. She glanced away, ears flushing faintly. Observation log, humor appears contagious. Before Marcus could reply, the intercom crackled. All crew, prepare for final jump. Evolian envoy will disembark after docking sequence. Alira's fingers lingered on her slate. When I return home, my report will change perceptions. Perhaps our council will see humans not as reckless primitives, but as necessary chaos. Marcus tilted his head. Necessary chaos. I like that. Put it on a t-shirt. Her ears flicked in confusion. What is a t-shirt? Never mind. Ancient human ritual clothing. Totally inefficient. She closed the slate with a decisive snap. Then it is settled. I will file my report as humans. Inefficient, impulsive, irrational, yet inexplicably resilient and strangely endearing. Marcus grinned. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about us. She rose, straightening her posture, but her eyes lingered on him. Marcus, thank you. For your explanations. Even the horrifying ones. He stood too, rubbing the back of his neck. Anytime. Though next time you want a lesson, maybe start with something less traumatizing. Like sports. Or taxes. She tilted her head. Are those less traumatizing? He thought about it. Okay, maybe not. The deck lights dimmed as the jump drive powered up. Stars stretched into luminous lines, the ship humming with anticipation. Alira's crystal core gave a faint answering pulse, resonating with the ship's energy. Marcus watched her, realizing something he hadn't before. She wasn't just some wide-eyed researcher cataloging human weirdness. She had come here believing harmony was the only path worth following. Now, she was leaving with a little chaos stitched into her. And maybe, just maybe, he'd picked up a bit of harmony from her. As the stars bent and the jump began, Alira turned to him, ears twitching one last time. Observation log, humans survive by laughing at the void. Evolians might learn to do the same. Marcus chuckled. And here I thought you'd never get the joke. The ship plunged into light, carrying them both toward whatever came next, one engineer, one alien scholar, bound together by chaos, harmony, and a lot of very awkward biology lessons.